How do I assemble the greenhouse sensor and attach the sensing module to the lid? First, let's take a look at what the module looks like when you get it in your kit. So this is the greenhouse sensor module with a stopper attached. It comes with a moisture probe and another cord along with the greenhouse sensor. So let's first focus on this part. This has 3 sensors on it. Okay, so there are sensors on the top, or there is a sensor on the top, and there are sensors back here in the black box, in the black part of the board. So first let's look at the top, and when I rotate the top you might notice, and I'm going to touch that area with my thumbnail, you might notice a purple looking square that's very shiny as I rotate the board. Now I'm going to show you a close-up image of what I'm looking at here. So find that square. That's going to become important later on, but for now let's distinguish this as the light sensor. So that's where the light sensor is appearing on the sensor, and then on the back of the greenhouse sensor, this is where the temperature and humidity sensors are in this black box. So that when the module is up in the lid, the light sensor is on the top, getting all the light from above, and then underneath, the temperature and humidity from inside the chamber are being measured from the black portion back here. Okay, let's work on the stopper first. So number one thing you want to do is remove the nut and washer. If the washer stuck to the stopper, great, just leave it there. If not, make sure that the nut and washer are put somewhere safe. Like, for example, I have a little tray here so I don't lose them. And then you remove the stopper. Now the stopper, you'll notice it's a 2-hole stopper. It's size 6. Eventually it will go into the lid on the greenhouse. You'll also notice that one side of the stopper has a slice through it. It's cut all the way down so that you can get the cord through the stopper. And the cord that you want through the stopper is this one that's separate, that has nothing on either end. It's just the cord for the greenhouse sensor module. The other cord that you'll notice is the soil moisture probe, but it's attached to the probe. So for now we're just going to set it aside. Now your goal is to get the cord through the hole on the stopper. And this is easier with 2 people, but I'm going to do this one by myself. So you'll notice that when you turn the stopper sideways, you've got a wide top portion of the stopper and a narrow bottom portion. You want to start by getting a craft stick. This is a sturdy craft stick. Make sure it can handle some twisting and turning and won't break. I'm going to stick the craft stick in the top hole there. And when I do that, when I stick the craft stick through the top hole and I twist that popsicle, or this stick here, the craft stick, you can see that the hole widens. And I can actually widen that hole enough to get the cord through. So let me do that right now. I'm turning and getting that hole wide enough just to get even just a little bit of my cord into the stopper. So I've pushed in a little bit of the cord, and again, it's easier with 2 people. You might even want 2 sticks, and that's enough just to get me started pushing the cord all the way through, going horizontally now, all the way through. There we go, and you definitely don't want to use a sharp object. There, now I've got the cord through the stopper hole so that the cord can move freely. And take a look at your stopper. Find the narrow side of the stopper and find the plug close to the narrow side. And now you want to plug this plug into the module, the sensor module. Now you'll notice on the plug there is a rectangle at the top side, on the light sensor side, with 2 notches, 4 holes, and then a smaller bottom rectangle that will match the plug. So the plug has a side that has a larger rectangle and 2 notches, and then the 4 holes. Also, the plug has, it might be hard to see here, but the plug has a single arrow pointing in this direction. That's the bottom of the plug when you look at this sensor module. So make sure your arrow's on the bottom, the dots and the rectangles are lined up, and so are the notches, and plug that cord into the sensor module. And now you're ready to get it through the lid. So grab your greenhouse lid or eco chamber And starting with the screw, place the screw through any one of the 3 holes. And then the cord, allow the cord through, and then just bring your stopper and set it into the lid. You're almost there. Now go underneath, pick up your lid, rotate, make sure you have plenty of leeway on your cord here, rotate so that you can get the screw through the second hole in the stopper, push that screw all the way through, and now return the washer and nut to the module. Oops. And don't lose the nut. And tighten, hand tighten. There's no need to over tighten. You definitely might want to rotate the board a little bit, and I'll explain why in a moment. Get it hand tightened. That's good enough so that I'm able to push the stopper all the way through, and I've got a secure contact between the board and the stopper. Now, as far as how much cord to leave, make sure you're not putting too much strain back here, and push the excess, if any, excess cord through the hole so that you can not have too much wire hanging down. This looks good right here. Okay. Next, now we're ready to find one of the 1-hole flat stoppers. These ones are a little easier to work with because the whole side is cut and they're very easy to twist by hand. So push one of those through. And that one later on we're going to use for the greenhouse light for setting it into the lid. And actually let me remove that one because I need it for the soil moisture probe. So when you're ready to get the soil moisture probe through the lid, set the probe through any of the holes. And now get your 1-hole stopper. You've got plenty of these in your kit. And simply twist the stopper so that you can get that cord through. That was much easier, right? Okay, and now push that stopper through the lid. Okay, so this hole is for putting in the light later on. All right, you've got the lid set up. Great. Now, I recommend following your cord. So this is the soil moisture cord. I recommend getting a piece of tape that's labeled to help you keep track of what's what there. So this just says moisture. Now this cord, I've abbreviated LHT for light, humidity, and temperature, and that'll help me get my greenhouse sensor connected. Okay, now I'm going to grab my greenhouse sensor. And this side says moisture probe. This side says light, humidity, and temperature. I recommend on the back repeating those same labels in the proper place. So I've labeled on the back light, humidity, temp, and you'll notice I put a single arrow. Remember this plug has that arrow on one side? And then the moisture probe has 2 arrows. In fact, the moisture probe plug does have 2 arrows, so that's how to distinguish it from the light, humidity, and temperature plug. So here we go. Taking a look at these side by side. It's harder to see the single arrow on this one, but this light, humidity, and temperature probe is round and it has a single arrow, while the moisture plug has more of a rectangle shape and 2 arrows. Now those arrows are there to help you line up on the back, that the arrows go to the back. Okay, so you can also look at the holes for the positions of the rectangles and make sure that the rectangles and holes are in the same place. I find it easier to just go to the back, label it, and match up the arrows. So here's my moisture probe, and arrows are matching, and I'm matching arrows here for light, humidity, temperature, and I'm plugging that in. Okay, so I've got my sensor now all set up. I'm going to plug in the greenhouse sensor on the control node into the sensor port right there. And you're ready to connect your control node. Place the lid on your chamber. Let's look at one that's done. Okay, so you place the lid on the chamber so that the holes line up. These holes are, you can put the USB fan in one hole, you can put your water system through the other with the stopper. Then we got that 3rd hole here. Like I said before, it's for your greenhouse light. Now your greenhouse light, you're going to try to aim for the middle of this plastic piece here, right in the center of the circle. You're going to aim your light sensor, that box, that purple looking box, right in the center of, when you look from the top down, right in the center of that plastic piece. So try to line up your light sensor with the center like that. And you just stick the greenhouse light. It's hard to see in the video, I apologize for that, but I'm going to rotate either the stopper or the grow light to whatever position is necessary to make sure the center of the light, the center of the grow light is lined up with the light sensor when looking from the top down. And now you're all set.